Well, hey guys, Steven here, and welcome back to my shop. In this video, hopefully I'm going to be sharing a fun and relaxing one-by-one basswood carving with you. It's a USA or American Honeybee, whichever you want to call it, and I've turned these into refrigerator magnets. But I'm also going to be sharing a little bit about my dad in this video. My dad passed away back last year, back in November. And my dad is an Army veteran, but he was also a beekeeper for over 40 years. So I'm going to share a little bit of my thoughts and memories about his beekeeping and also show you how to carve this honeybee. So I hope you'll join with me and let's get started. Okay guys, as I mentioned, this is a one-by-one project. I took a 6-inch piece of one-by-one basswood and cut it down to 4 inches. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down 1 inch for the head, about 1 inch for the thorax of the honeybee, which is kind of the chest area, and that leaves about 2 inches for the abdomen area. And I'm just going to bring these lines around. I'm going to bring them down a little bit. Go ahead and add a center line down the top. This is going to be the top of the honeybee. And then I'm going to add a center line down the middle. And from there I'm going to add a horizontal line. And the horizontal line is going to kind of be the mandible area of the bee. Okay, and then I'm just going to go ahead and trace out the curvature for the abdomen of the bee. Okay, I recently purchased a couple of badger steak knives. Really enjoying these carving knives. The one on the bottom is a roughing knife, and the one on the top is more the detailed knife. And I'm going to go ahead and make sure I'm looking at getting it oriented and just go around and sort of separate the head from the thorax area. And for that I'm going to go around all 4 corners and just do some V cuts and just separate that area. Make sure you wear your carving glove, and as you can see, I'm wearing some carving tape there to kind of keep my fingers protected. But I really have enjoyed the badger steak knives. So flat ground blade and became very sharp, and I have put it on the strop a couple of times. I've been using it to carve a few of these honeybees. I think I've done about 4 or 5 of these, and I think I've got the design. So here you see me showing the head area, separation for the head. Now I'm going to go in here and do some V cuts on the bottom of the bee. I'm not going to do it on the top because the wings are going to go up on the top, but I am going to go ahead and separate the bottom. This is the thorax area of the bee. This is where the wings on a real honeybee actually attach to the thorax area on top, and we're gonna be cutting in the wings on the top here in a minute. But I do want to go ahead and define this thorax area, as you can see here. And I'm just going to go ahead and start whittling that head down. I'm just going to kind of round it over, and then I'm going to start tapering it down to that horizontal line and try to get close to the shape of a honeybee head, although this is a caricature. It's not supposed to be look like a real honeybee in the end, but I did want to get it sort of close to a caricature of a of a bee, and here I am carving up to from the bottom to that horizontal line. This is, once I taper it all in, you'll see a little bit better shape of the head. It sort of forms that mandible shape, I guess you would say, on a actual bee. We're just going to keep working around the head here. Now I'm going to come in from the side. I'm going to take that head down just a little bit from the side. Make sure I keep my center line marked so I kind of know where I'm headed with my cuts. Constantly looking at the head and making sure things are looking symmetrical. And skip the head here a little bit, but you can see the head starting to take a little bit more shape. Start rounding back the back of the head here a little bit. And you know, once you've got the roughing done, you just start shaping it down with finer and finer, you know, facets until you can sort of round it. And I like to leave the facets, you know, on there. Now you can see me going to the back part. This is going to be kind of the abdomen area and where the wings are going to be on top. And I'm just going to go ahead and carve this on around that line that I initially drew for the abdomen area. I'm going to go ahead and mark the center line again, because that's kind of the center of the bee. I'm going to carve that to sort of a point here in a minute to kind of mimic where the stinger might be at the abdomen of the bee. But I'm just going to keep going around and shaping that down and just start tapering it all the way down to really the bottom of almost to the bottom of the block. There you go. Now we're seeing kind of a rough shape of a honeybee. And I'm going to come in and start taking off some of those corners, starting to give it a little bit of a round shape. Although I am going to leave that top part a little bit flat for developing the wings. I'm going to come around to the bottom of the abdomen area and start taking those corners off a little bit as well. Now here you see me, I'm just cutting if you see the center line, I'm trying to cut a kind of a flat angled plane down the side of the bee to the center line. I'm going to do that on this side. Just take some gradual cuts and try to get a little flat plane for this is going to be for the wings of the bee. Now I'm doing it to the other side, coming in at a slight angle. Just carving up to that center line. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, I'm going to keep cutting that plane to where you're going to have like a ridge going down the middle of the bee on top. And I'm trying to get it, you know, relatively flat. It doesn't have to be perfect, like I said, but trying to get it relatively flat. And like I said, the wings are going to appear to attach sort of in the middle of that thorax area, kind of like on a real honeybee. That's what I'm trying to shoot for. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of draw that center line back, just so I can see a little bit better where that ridge is. Now, you could use your straight carving knife here. It's a little bit easier for me just to use a small V tool. And so I'm going to go down and, you know, separate those wings. This is, again, the top portion of the bee. Make sure you've stropped your V tool before you do this, if you haven't stropped it in a while. Okay, so there's the center of the wings. bring it up just a little bit closer to the head. And now I'm going to take the V tool. I'm just going to trace around again, you could do this with a knife, but I'm going to use the V tool to sort of separate those wings out on the top. So I'm going to come down with another V cut on one side, and you can sort of turn that V tool a little bit up to where you're standing that wing off a little bit more from the body. Get some of those bandsaw marks off the wood. And now I'm going to bring the V tool over on the other side and do the exact same thing. I'm just going to come along here. If you want, you might want to use a pencil and mark that, but I just sort of eyeballed it here. Just coming straight back with a V cut. And now what you're seeing me do, I'm coming back just a little bit back toward the head, and I'm kind of angling that wing in just a little bit to give it a little bit of a shape, a little bit, although this may not be exactly like the shape of a honeybee's wings. They'll be pretty close, but I'm just coming back a little bit toward toward that thorax area, and then just angling that wing in. I'll bring the V tool and just kind of keep working it around the top of the bee. I'm sort of creating a little bit of a ledge on the end of the wings there, and then I'm going to come back with the carving knife and curve that down for the abdomen area of the bee. Okay, here you can see what, like I was saying, I'm going to go ahead and take that little ledge that I just created and refine that abdomen area. I want that abdomen area to curve over like a honeybee in the back. So I'm going to keep whittling away at that area, and then I'm going to start coming back from the side now to that center line. You can see me bringing those sharp corners off and sort of rounding the bottom so that the abdomen area's got sort of a round shape to it. Here I'm going to do the other side, coming back to that center line. Just keep shaping it, keep putting some roughing it, and then going down to smaller facets and smaller facets. And right there where the line is, you can see I'm doing a little bit of a swooping cut. And that's because I want to sort of define a little bit of a point there, maybe for me painting a stinger in there later. Give it just a little bit of a point. Now you could exaggerate that more if you want. If you want a bee with a bigger point sticking out there, you can exaggerate that even more if you wanted to. I'm coming down just under that wing, and I'm going to taper that area off again. Again, I'm trying to make that side of the abdomen there below the wing. I'm trying to round it over a little bit, just like the shape of a real bee. Come in there and get rid of those sharp corners on the bottom, and then just get rid of any of those flat areas where the saw cut it. Keep working around the bee. Starting to take shape now. Do the same thing on the other side here. I loved, in my earlier years, I loved working with my dad. My dad kept bees for about 40 years, and I remember as a teenager, young adult, putting on the the equipment, putting on the veil, and getting out there with him and managing the bees and really helping them produce excess honey so that they could live off that honey and also produce enough honey for us. It was always fascinating for me. I never did take up beekeeping myself, but my dad did it for the longest time and invested a lot of equipment and time in it, and actually started to sell some of his honey. He didn't really get rich selling that honey. It was more of a hobby type income, but he would put the money back into buying more hives and supers and tools for his beekeeping hobby. Here you can see me going around with the bee tool and really just cleaning up some of those V cuts that I've made around the wings there, coming back and making sure that point is separated again. Again, it's a little bit back and forth here with the V tool, and here you can see I'm doing a little bit of an undercut with the knife here to really undercut that wing a little bit and make it kind of stand out and look more like a wing. And I'm taking that little bit of a ledge there down just to make it tuck in under the wing a little bit more. Keep coming around and refining that abdomen area. One of the fun things that my brother and I really enjoyed growing up is my dad built us a little observation hive, and he hooked that thing up to put a tube through our bedroom window, and we just stuck it on the dresser, and for weeks on end we got to watch the bees come and go, and of course build out the honey, and we got to watch the queen bee doing her work around the hive. It's always very fascinating. Bees have always fascinated me all my life. Here you can see I'm just going to go around and keep defining that back abdomen area of the bee. Again, doing a little bit more of the swooping cuts. And you may not have noticed, but I did do some of that on the front of the bee as well, where the head is. And I don't know if you can notice on the head there, I did carve a little flat plane there for painting the eyes. Now right here, I'm doing some triangle cuts, and what I want this to do is I want to separate that thorax area. Remember the chest area there? I want to separate that and really create that shadow underneath the wing there, where the wing attaches to that. So I'm going to do a V cut, a deep V cut in there, kind of separate that out a little bit more, and of course I'll do that on the other side as well. Now you see me rounding that thorax out just a little bit. Clean this area up a little bit as well. Alright, same deal on this side. I'm going to do another triangle cut here, deep triangle cut, and just try to create some shadow right there under the wing. That way it looks like the wing is floating above the body a little bit more, and you can see the thorax area is a little bit better separated. Then I'm going to come back real lightly and taper those sharp edges. I hate to leave, really sharp edges on my carvings. I don't think anybody likes sharp edges. So coming back with a knife and real lightly just tapering that edge off a little bit. Now I'm going to, that abdomen area, if you look on a real honeybee, it sort of has striations, right? So, and if you look at a real honeybee, it actually does, each of the little sections of the abdomen sort of have a little bit of a bulge in them. So what I'm going to do is on this abdomen area, I'm going to take my V tool and initially kind of define these these separations here, as you can see. And now I'm going to take the knife and I'm going to further do some V-cuts here, deepen those V-cuts that I just did with the V tool. And I'm going to go in here and start doing these little triangle cuts as well to give that, again, give that abdomen area a little bit of separation from the wings. And one thing you may see me doing in here in a minute, I may come back and undercut the side of the wings just a little bit too, to where it looks like the wings are just floating above the abdomen area. So again, I'm doing some more triangle cuts here, trying to create that effect of shadow, the illusion that the body has these different sections to it. And you'll see after I paint these, I'll paint this back part red, white in the back. And then the front of the bee is going to be pretty much blue. So here we go. So I went ahead and did the other side. This is kind of a finished profile of the bee. And again, if you notice on the head, I did cut some flat planes for the eyes. You could cut in an area for the eyes if you wanted to and define those eyes a little bit better, but I'm just going to do a simple painting of the eyes. You can also see where I swoop down kind of the front there, where it comes down to the mandible area of the bee. Did some swooping cuts to give it a little bit more of a bee head shape. Doing some finishing cuts here, refining the bee, and you will see that I did put some texture on the top of those wings with my little small gouge. That'll help with defining the paint job here. But I'm going to also take a Forstner bit here and drill a little small indentation for my neodymium magnet. I'm going to take a little bit, just 2 or 3 drops of medium CA glue here. Don't let this get on your fingers or you glue your fingers together, but just take that small magnet and drop it in there and let it sit a while. Make sure you dry fit it first. Okay, I wanted to talk to you real briefly about the painting of the honeybee. It's relatively simple. I basically used a regular blue color, white color, and a red color. And you can use black in here for parts like where I painted on the stinger. You could use black maybe behind the blue in places, and I also used it for the eye as well. But a real easy one to paint. Now, this was the prototype. This was the first one that I did, and just one thing that I learned that I really liked is I didn't put any texture in the wings here, and I really think it makes a difference to use the V gouge or the small U gouge to put some texture in here. And then what I did is I basically mixed the white and the blue, together. So 50-50 mixture to get this light blue color. I used it also, as you can see, in the eye there. And I used that to first paint over the wings here. And then what I did is I took my a little bit wider brush, and I just dry brush the red across here and the white across here. And I really like that because it kind of gives the illusion that the wings are transparent, which I think is pretty cool. And then I just used a toothpick to dab in the white paint and create these little dots that kind of represent the stars. Now you can add an antenna here like I've done. Of course I didn't want to add anything sticking out of the bee. So I drew it kind of curved around, And you know, you can add different facial expressions. Obviously it's a caricature of a honeybee. It's not supposed to be a, you know, a realistic honeybee. But anyway, that's just kind of an overview. And then when all that dried, I used the Ultra Matte Duraclear to go over it, just to add a little bit of extra protection. And of course, as I showed, I used a small neodymium magnet. You just want to make sure you dry fit this in here before you put the glue down, just to make sure. I like to get it flush with the bottom of the carving, or maybe slightly below that. But anyway, you can make a magnet. Another idea is you might be able to glue I thought about this idea. If you cut this little indentation out here, you could put a computer USB flash drive in here, and then this would be a true USB. Okay, so that's another idea if you wanted to go that far with it. But it's probably easier to either make a refrigerator magnet, or just simply something that you can use for home decor, or put on a desk, or give away as a gift. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you got something out of it, and thanks for coming along. And you know, remembering my dad and his honeybee adventures. And I hope that you enjoyed the video, and we will see you in the next one.